It should be recording. Noticed. I'm gonna sound schizophrenic in front of you, and I don't like that. I'm gonna be talking to my computer screen. I don't like that. I already don't like it when I'm alone in my room doing it. Now I got it in front of you. I'm gonna sound schizophrenic. I'm gonna sound schizophrenic. Fine. I did notice, which actually I can go to that. My most popular video is my power moveset in JJS. So I made another one, but not power. But I made basically Naoya. Why aren't the moves loading in? But it's just if you watch JJK, you know what the projection curse technique does. Blah blah. I made a user that does that, and I've this entirely my own concept. Besides maybe the move names, I wouldn't be surprised if someone has used 24 frame kick in a move before. But the R special is literally just a sprinting move with after images, which I like to use the actual avatar after images instead of the normal after images that just leave a color behind, because the color ones are boring. And then this does no damage, no grabs, no nothing. It's just more of a movement utility move more than anything. And with it being more of a movement utility move, not motility, utility move, it's supposed to apprehend how anybody who actually has this technique would effectively just do that. But otherwise, it has 3 custom M1s, which each give 8 projection bar, with the last one giving 12. So 2 M1 chains, it would put them in a frame. Yeah, and then 24 frame kick, you run, and then a sweet animation into a kick that sends them flying. Which, I don't know, when I made the power moveset video, I could make custom movesets similar to this quality, but for some reason, I just used normal moves clipped into each other, and I don't know why I did that, because it makes the moves look a whole lot worse. Like, I say that's a pretty well-made move. It's kind of hittable on non-moving opponents. There was going to be a finisher, but for some reason, the finisher decided to bug out, and it just doesn't work. That's the first move, which it only does 15 damage and has a 15-second cooldown. So if you could only use this move, they'd regenerate before you could hit them again. At least I think that's how it works. And if you notice what I'm doing, it reaches just far enough that you should be able to continuously combo chain it most of the time, which sounds kind of weird, but that's if you have no cooldowns. I will actually be uploading this in place of my old Naoya moveset on Workshop. One sec. Uploads. I uploaded my Naoya, strong and pretty clean. I don't know what I'm on. This is not pretty clean. But I have all caps on. I think I spelled that right. I'm not gonna upload it now so people can't steal the code. It's that simple. I don't want stealing my movesets. But because I put my work in. I put my hard work into it. And then we'll move on to the next move, which is running right through. And if you've watched season 3, you know him saying, "I'll just punch right through." Well, this is running right through. There's a hitbox around you every 0.1 seconds that does like 3 damage while you're running with after images. I think the most damage you can do, you can set actually. The most damage you can possibly do. There we go. See how much that is. I don't know. Is that much, which is physically impossible. Unless you have like lock on and you're using lock on, it is impossible for you to do that much damage. I will test in just a second here once he fully regenerates how much you can do by trying your hardest to like stay with him, and that's that much. So, and I I actually used, if you play the game, Kumaru's absolute destruction move in his ult. That's the animation I used for this one instead of decisive strikes like I used for 24 frame kick. Switched it up. And then consecutive slashes is just I put a mesh ID sword in and it does 3 slashes that do the bleed out effect each time. That's just it. Which actually there is kind of a tech in the move. One second, let me do that. Wait for the frame to break. If you do 1, 2, and then do this, these 3, it'll give you a full M1 reset. And he's dead. Well, yeah, it has a long cooldown. It's that simple. I think I got the mesh ID. I could actually fix that a bit better, but I don't think it's needed to be put down more because it's already hard enough as it is to see in the move. And then punch at 24 frames. For some reason, it censored 24 frame punch to change the name, but it's literally just like 24 frame kick, but does a bit more damage, and you run faster. Ooh, I missed it. I think it actually has a 10-second cooldown though for the souls. Yeah, it has a 10-second cooldown because it's extremely hard to hit in an actual fight. Unless you frame them, which I still missed it. Missed 24 frame kick too. There we go. Which the is times Hill Moon Palace. Cause I'm lazy. Which 24 punch at 24 frames isn't, if you can notice, it isn't as high quality as the other 3 because I simply did it this morning instead of last time I was working on the moveset. And I would decide to be a bit more lazy. But the reason I'm taking damage is because the ult can be used at any time, have to be below 10 health or at 10 health to be able to use it. I made that choice so that you don't just need to grind ult, and it's more used as a last resort to win your fight. Kind of like how Megami in the first season domain expansion for the first time against Finger Bear. It's because he's backed up against the wall. That's kind of the same premise here. You unlock true Jujutsu mastery in this moveset by nearly dying. Oh, and I'm not low enough. There we go. Yeah. And then you do the domain expansion, which is a little broken with the moves because of, yeah, that. And how 2 of the moves do aggressive amounts of knockback and you can fuel the damage on. But I think interpretation of domain expansions, that's any regular person with projection sorcery would interpret the domain expansion how Time Cell Moon Palace is. So I wouldn't need to make my own interpretation of it because that's also my interpretation. Because if you don't know, domains are not interpreted off curse technique. They are interpreted off. They are how they work is off how you think they are going to work. Hence why Naoya and Curse Form only could get to that level because he realized what his domain should look like. No, I guess that's kind of makes sense. But I mean, overall, you can get crazy distance using all the moves if you really wanted to run because of a bunch of end lag. But anyways, that is my Naoya projection user showcase, whatever you want to call it, I guess. Yeah, we'll just go with Naoya. But it will be called in workshop. It will be called projection user by Little Choso. 2 O's at the end. Anyways, bye bye.